I'm done betting against the New England Patriots.
We all are.
It's like mentally exhausting. This is a deep roster right here. I think the best defensive team that he's had in a long time. I think they're going to take a lot out of his plate this year. They're going to be able to win ugly. They can win in a shootout. We know that. And they cut Demaryius Thomas, but we know after week one they're going to bring him back. So now they have tremendous depth at the wide receivers position. You know, they have a full array of running backs. They're a complete team. The only thing that can derail this team is an injury to Tom Brady or more injuries to that offensive line that protects them.
The offensive line, though, is, I don't want to say a huge concern, but a question mark more so this year.
A lot of transactions this week.
Absolutely. And the center, who had been one of the standard bearers of that offensive line, he now officially out for the year. The left tackle, Isaiah Wynn, might have liked him a lot coming out of college, but it's not just that we've never seen him play in the pros. It's that he's gone now, pardon me, a year without playing, or 9 months without playing football coming off that Achilles injury. But the real reason to bet against the Patriots has nothing to do with the Patriots and everything to do with the team they'd have to go through. The Kansas City Chiefs are the best team in the AFC this year.
Shady.
And the best team in the NFL this year. Adding LaShawn McCoy is a little bit of a bonus, but even prior to adding LaShawn McCoy, this is a team that last season played the Patriots twice. In both of those games, they were miserable in the first half. Outscored 38-9, pardon me, doing the math in my head, in the first half. And in the second half of those games, they scored 31 points and 31 points. In the regular season game against the Patriots, Patrick Mahomes led 2 fourth-quarter comebacks, only to have the defense give it up. In the playoff game against the Patriots, Patrick Mahomes led 3 fourth-quarter comebacks, only to have the defense give it up. He then took it back again or tied it, and then they lose a coin flip and lose the game. I think the Chiefs improved more this offseason than the Patriots did. I think the Chiefs last year were as close as one could get to the Patriots without actually beating them. And if you read Peter King this morning, he had talked to Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid about those games against the Patriots. And Mahomes said what is absolutely correct. We have to make adjustments before halftime. They were great at halftime adjustments. He said against New England, we have to recognize we've got to start out faster and make adjustments earlier. If the Chiefs do one or both of those things, they will be in far better position this year than last year. So it's not an anti-Patriots play. More so, I think they would have to go through the best team in the NFL, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, but when you talk about that, it's important where you play that game as well.
Yep.
Not so much for the Patriots, but really for Kansas City. And last year, they played that game at home and lost. And who has the tougher road to get there? They got to go through, the Chargers as well.
Broncos
and
better.
The Broncos a little bit better, so they could get beat up. We think the Jets are going to be a little bit better. Why the Buffalo Bills are helping the Patriots become a better football team by sending them offensive linemen, I have no idea. But we think the road to the AFC Championship is going to be a little bit easier for the Patriots because they're always able to walk through the regular season.
Yep.
So it's going to be important. They brought in Steve Spagnuolo, which is huge because he's one of the few coordinators that have had success against them. They bring in Frank Clark. They're going to have to be able to slow him down. The big part that the biggest, I believe, hurdle that the Patriots are going to have is finding a way to replace Gronkowski because it wasn't so much his big plays against Eric Berry in those games. It was really his blocking and being able to secure the edge.
It's another
Ben
offensive
Watson's
line
going to be
question,
able to do that. Right. So we're going to see how the Patriots adjust with that. Do they go back to traditionally what they used to be, spreading you out and running power, runs out of passing formations? That's something that they've always been good at adjusting to because they do have a guy like Demaryius Thomas, who's a guy, if you put in a slot, is a mixed match problem against a nickel, or they can put the young kid in there, N'Keal Harry, and he can be somebody that acts as that big tight end slash, dime, nickel killer.
You talk about adjusting. You talk about the Chiefs not adjusting at halftime. There's no team in the NFL that adjusts to everything, to injuries, to guys not being able to play, to suspensions, to seeing what defenses show them than the Patriots. This is a team that they know who they are now. They know they're going to be a different team at the end of the season, and not every team can adjust to that. A lot of teams go into the season as favorites and assume that's their mentality and their thought process throughout. The Patriots go week to week, and they're so good about being able to sort of maintain that thought process, and Belichick is great at doing that. All right, so if it is the Patriots or if it's not the Patriots, I seem to think it is. Both of you don't. Are you going with the
I think
Chiefs?
Bart does. I think Bart does think it's going to be the
You still think, even though that the Patriots will win the Super Bowl?
Well, no, not win the Super Bowl. I think they'll go to the Super Bowl. I think I've been just watching all the transactions this weekend, and to me, I believe that it's the New Orleans Saints. You know, you look at what they've been able to add over the weekend, bringing in Kiko Alonso, being able to add more speed at that second level. If it's one person I trust to go throw for throw, play for play, it's Sean Payton and Drew Brees. So I think that they'll be able to pull it out because they just have so many explosive weapons that I feel like they can be able to exploit that Patriots defense, even though it's good. Drew Brees is somebody that I never count against.
Well, that's interesting that you said the coach-quarterback combo that you trust most to go up against Belichick is Peyton and Brees. For me, that's one of the reasons I'm so high on the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to go to the Super Bowl. Obviously, I think they're going to win it. They have right now in 2019, people get mad, but it's obviously true, a better quarterback than New England. And nobody is a better coach than New England. But I think Andy Reid might be the closest thing to it as far as a guy who's been in Kansas City now for long enough. He's got his full roster of players, his system, his coaching staff.
Never won a big game.
I don't know. It's fair to say he never won a big game. Won a conference championship game. That was a pretty big game. Then they lost in the Super Bowl to the New England Patriots. I would argue, though, that Patriots team, when they played in the Super Bowl 15 years ago, that was maybe the best of all the Patriot teams. That Patriot team was dominant, was stacked. That was the team that during that run reeled off at the time record for most consecutive wins over the course of, if you combine 2 seasons, essentially. Andy Reid was coaching with one hand tied behind his back a bit in that game, and that the Pats clearly had more talent, and his best player, Terrell Owens, was injured. But again, nobody's Bill Belichick. But if I'm going to trust a team to beat the Patriots in New England or in Kansas City, they played in New England last year in the regular season. And after playing terribly in the first half, the Chiefs had a fourth-quarter lead, and the defense just couldn't hold on to it. The other thing for New England that I think is a legitimate concern is what offense are they going to run? Because we had said they were going to be the team, they were the final month of the season, that power running team, 2 tight ends. Well, right now, Gronk's gone. 2 tight ends are suspended. So their starting tight end at the moment is a guy named Ryan Izzo. They took in the 7th round last year. So at least at the beginning of the season, that
He'll go to Pro Bowl.
Okay, sure. But that might not be an option to him. We know they don't have the center. We talked about that earlier. And your point on the Saints, and you can speak on this better than me, but how much emotional fatigue is there from consecutive years feeling like this was our year, this was our opportunity? 2 years ago, you feel like it got blown because your safety just made one really bad play. And the next year, it's even worse because rightly or wrongly, they don't feel like they blew that game. They feel like that game was stolen from them.
So you're telling me they got a chip on their shoulder?
A chip on their... Well,
and now they just got better. Tell me this, better offense, Saints, Kansas City.
Oh, I think Kansas City.
But close.
Yeah, absolutely.
Better defense.
Saints. The Saints definitely have a better defense.
And a coach that's willing to make the big decision in the big moment. Don't forget what Sean Payton did in the Super Bowl. I mean, it takes a lot of...
Wasn't your issue that Drew Brees wouldn't have it for all
I'm also concerned
season?
about Drew Brees. What we saw from him the first 12 games of last year and then the end of last year looked eerily similar to what we saw from Peyton Manning his second to last year.
Load management.
Just hand the ball
Watch it happening. They got Latavius Murray. They got Kamara. They're going to load manage him. They're going to make sure they keep his throws down until play.
I think that's smart. I think they need to because I think that is part of what happened last year. I think his arm got tired.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.